everybody who helped out with this because there was a lot of support behind this, making this happen. So I really appreciate that. All the shares, things like that. So really appreciate that. So we're just going to get right into it. So we'll talk about some announcements. You can go first, man. You got a gig coming up. So, let's talk about it. It's
Dragon Lady Reunion, Melbourne. That's December 13th. It's on a Friday.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah, it's always fun. It'll be Magic Mike, myself, Andy Hughes.
Oh, shit.
And Robbie. And then, as well, a group of really talented, DJs will be there as well supporting the show. It's, I believe, right on the water.
Damn.
In Melbourne. So, it's a really super cool place.
I've never been there. What's it called?
It used to be called Dragon Lady. It's now...
Oh, that was the name of the venue.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the info is on my Facebook page. So if you want to go there, there's the event link and all that with directions. And I don't know if they put up the... Looking now. I don't think they put up the time slots yet. So
okay, that's soon. So what is that? Is that next week?
It
is next Friday. Oh shit.
So
okay, that's cool.
Time slots up.
So I just got one announcement. I'm DJing at Public House tomorrow night, or not tomorrow night, Saturday night. Sorry, and I'll go on at like 10 or 10:30 till 2, which is in downtown Fort Pierce. That's all I got. Probably my last gig there. So I've been DJing there for a couple months for this year, but some things have changed, so I probably won't be there anymore. But we're doing the live stream, all that stuff still happening. So let's talk about Dragon Lady. Mm-hmm. Tell me what the original Dragon Lady was.
Well, it's interesting. There's so many reunions and throwbacks and back to the old school and all that. Like, a lot of these places that I played, they do the reunions and whatnot. Like, I don't even remember being there.
Right, the first time.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Ace Cafe, when I got the booking, they're like, yeah, it's the old Edge. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, and that I remember. And when I played down south in Lauderdale, that was the Edge in Lauderdale.
Right.
And I was like, oh, sweet. And they were back-to-back, month, and then the next month Orlando. So it was pretty cool because it was playing, the old school Edge and then the old school Edge.
Right.
This one, Dragon Lady, I don't remember being there, but it's a reunion more so for those of us that were around at that time.
When was that?
Everything was 90s.
Okay. Like late 90s?
Early, mid 2000s and stuff like that.
Okay.
I don't know all the specifics of this particular venue.
Did you go there?
Yeah, I'd been
quite maybe.
Places.
Okay,
I don't know, dude. Come on, we're talking like
20 years ago
till now.
Okay,
I've been to a few places.
Right.
I don't remember.
I never heard of Dragon Lady. I've heard of the Edge. Firestone. I've been to Fire. All those places like that. Never heard of Dragon Lady though. So that's why I was like, I thought what it was is not a venue. I thought it was like an event or a festival that happened like Cyberfest or something like that.
Right.
And then they were just having a reunion party for the event. I didn't realize it was the venue.
These are more so reunion parties for the people that have been involved, DJs and artists and whatnot.
Right.
And then they're using the venue, bringing it back to when Dragon Lady was at its peak of that in the scene, for that. So it's kind of like a combo for the two.
Right.
So for me to say, yeah, Dragon Lady reunion, I remember back when I was there. I don't remember back when I was there, but I do recall being around and amongst those that I will be playing.
Right, like Magic Mike,
Andy. Oh man, it's
I definitely want to talk to you about Magic Mike, but let's talk about the nostalgia thing and the break scene. So I am 36, and I've said this on other podcasts I've done. Like I'm like kind of a generation before like a lot of the DJs that I know.
You trying to make me sound old?
No, I don't even know how old you are. I don't even know how old you are.
I don't know either.
So it doesn't have to come out. So all those parties like that, like I was in like 9th or 10th grade when like the 98, 99 things were happening. So I missed all that. So I didn't get to do it. So it kind of like
sucks.
I never got to do it for the first time, but I've seen all the reunions during that time.
Right.
And but yeah, man, it seems like the break scene in general, like a lot of the parties are reunion parties.
Yeah. Mainly because everything started going into a direction for these festivals, and then it became EDM and whatnot. And the scene then was very much so a breakaway from that type of thing. The top 40 radio, even MTV, because MTV was phenomenal when it first came out. It was showcasing artists that were, just nobody had really seen. Because they were like, we don't know what to do with this whole platform now. Let's throw stuff at it. Right. And that kind of went by the wayside. So with electronic music at the time, I guess we could, let's not even say specifically Florida, but in general, it was a departure from all that. Right. Because it became with top 40 radio being spoon-fed music that money was thrown at for an artist to be on the radio.
That's right, man.
And I didn't know any better back then either. Right. And I happened to be fortunate and lucky enough to meet a few people that were like, hey, check this out. And I remember going to my first warehouse party, and I remember vividly the doors opening up, and like you could hear the thumping in the distance, but the minute the door, slid open to let you in, it was just this sound.
What year was that?
I don't know.
In the 90s, early 90s?
Let's just say that.
The only reason I asked is because that period of time is very interesting to me.
Yes, a lot of treasure hunt style, like you would get a flyer to go to a spot, they would tell you to go to this spot. And
so that's real. Did you ever see Groove? The movie Groove?
Possibly.
This the cover's the guy carrying a huge disco ball on the subway. Well, what you just said about you go to a map point and you get another piece of the direction puzzle. Right. That's real. Yeah. It was in the movie. I was like, that's cool. But like I said, I never got to go to those parties. I was too young, so I didn't know. Mm-hmm. Dang. Okay, that's fucking awesome because that's exactly what they do in the movie. Like they don't give you the address; you got to go to the map point.
And I came along a little later, and this was a way back, but I came along a little later in that, so I only got to experience, I think, maybe one or two of those. Okay. Was that in Orlando? Down south. Okay. Most of the experience that I've had initially was down south. Okay. Palm Beach, Lauderdale. Miami's its own world to begin with. So
right. Yeah.
That's. Right. Thing.
So were those parties breaks parties, or that was just
for Florida? Yes.
Okay.
It was kind of evolving into that. From Orlando has always been like the pinnacle, right? The place. Yeah. No offense to you guys in Tampa and Miami.
No, it was the Mecca, dude. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the overseas stuff was coming over, and Orlando had its own sound of bringing in kind of. Because you get Disney World and all this, so there's a different mentality there where it's more, how do I put it? There's more imagination to things, and they drifted into a different area, sound-wise. So yeah, you were taking, the actual techno and whatnot, and things from like Manchester, where it all kind of started in the rave scene, right? Manchester and whatnot. But then kind of fused with the acid house and so on and so forth. But Florida, Miami bass and breakbeats, hip hop, and so on and so forth, kind of fused together and kind of just like happened. And Orlando was very 4/4, but did introduce that broken beat element. Right. And the South, Miami, really pushed that electro breaks or whatever you want to categorize it, genre, subgenre, whatever. Right. That really happened in the West Palm, southern part, and kind of started bleeding up everywhere else. You had California and Texas and Baltimore, all over the Carolinas, all over really picked up on that break.
It used to be on the radio.
Oh, well, yeah, that kind of... I have my opinions and feelings on that.
Yeah, but I mean, it was that popular, I guess, during that time. Like, I mean,
when you get in the car and you hear something that you did on the radio, you're like, "Hey, that's neat." Oh shit, this sucks.
Was your stuff on the radio?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying.
As well. Like there was that period of time. That, it happened. I mean, Florida, in Florida from Miami.
I guess the Tampa radio station or whatever. Tampa, I forget what that station was though. I mean, just like in general, just the history of breaks. Like I just like history in general, but the history of the music is something that I've like researched, and I wasn't there, but like I have looked into it, and I just like the evolution of the music and then like talking to people who were there during that time, because I didn't get into it until 2000. So that was like, my first CD that I listened to was Merlin Spellbound.
Oh, okay.
Like that was my first introduction into breaks. Mm-hmm. So I didn't start DJing until I was like 20 or 21. So it's nice to be able to talk to somebody for real during that time instead of like speculating about it, or just thinking about it. So how did you start DJing?
I really was interested in the music, obviously, and electronic music at the time was very new to me. I mean, I was a kid. I was like 15 or 16, I think. And I got introduced to it. I started with industrial, like 9 Inch Nails, Skinny Puppy, and whatnot. Mm-hmm. It was a departure, and I was into heavy metal, but I was into Two Live Crew and all that stuff. But it was still, even saying that is very mainstream.
Right. Yeah.
So I remember seeking out something that was really more. It was different. I remember walking to it was downtown Stewart, and Beadnex was the name of the store, and it was like old world trade beads and just like super eclectic and whatnot. And the owner, his name Jason Massey, and I had recently purchased a Roland W30 sampling workstation keyboard. This big, just metal. I mean, you cut yourself on the edges style, type. Yeah. And I did quite a few times. But I remember walking into that store. I don't know why. It was at random. I just happened to be downtown, and I walked in, and I heard the music that was playing just kind of like in the background, and it was like, house and treble house and like progressive and just overseas stuff. And I was like, wow, what is this?
Right.
And the girl that was working there said, oh, well, this is my boyfriend's mixtape. And at the time, I'm like, well, what is that?
Right.
So,
fuck the
she's
mixtape.
like, well, if you really like this, he'll be here tomorrow. Come in and meet him. His name's Jason. And I did, and immediately, he is a couple of years older, maybe 2 or 3 years. And we talked, and we were talking about music, and he just, my mind was like, oh, this is a thing. What is this? There's like a scene to it. And he's like, yeah, come over and hang out, bring your keyboard. And I've got the 1200s, and I had never been in any proximity or to Technique 1200s, let alone touch them.
Right.
I went over downtown in Stewart area by the water. Mm-hmm. Beautiful area. And when I went in, he had just wall of records. He's was from California, I think, San Francisco. But just everything from tribal to techno to this to that. And he's like, yeah, come here and go ahead and, put a couple of records together. And I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting there like nervous, like, oh, I'm going to break this dude's stuff. And he's like, dude, listen, the more nervous you are, the higher the probability of you're going to screw something up. He's like, just, go at it. And here's the headphone and listen for the beat and this and that. And I sat there and I sat there and I sat there and I just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And it started to click,
right?
What was going on. And he started giving me mixtapes. Kimball Collins, stuff of his own.
Oh, shit.
And I would sit there every single day and listen and listen and listen to how everything mixed together. And the journey of that was such a departure from mainstream music. There wasn't a vocal or a lyric to lead you on to tell you how you were supposed to feel about this particular, It was a journey, and it was mind-blowing, and it drew me into the scene. And I just wanted to be such a part of it from that perspective.
Right.
It wasn't about, at the time at all, throwing your hands in the air.
Right.
It was about, you got the dude with the sound, and you got the dude with the visual stuff, and you got the guy with the turntables, and somebody that had a box of records or a bunch of people. That was it. And people would just kind of come, and everybody would
have a good time, dude. What you just said about the music, about how there's no hook telling you, how to feel, what to think, things like that. That's exactly what I tell people about electronic music. That's why I like it, because it's an interpretation that you have that you do, and it's the feeling. The music moves you. You know, it's not telling you; it's moving you like internally, like it's like a force. You know, it's not like it's a direction. You know, like somebody instructing you on how to think and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like that's why I love dance music, dude. Dance music is really the only music that like moves me like that. Everything else is kind of like you listen to it, but you don't feel it like that. So when you were so that's how you learned how to mix.
Yeah.
Right. So how long did you do that before you started producing?
Actually, kind of around simultaneously, I guess. Kind of insane. Producing, the intent wasn't to, produce and release music, and,
right?
And all that. It was because there was such an interest for me. Stimulating mentally, and just diving into something that was, for me, I'd never done before.
Yeah.
Totally new to me. I did not grow up in an environment that was musical, other than as a listener. My mom had me young. I think she had me 18, just turned 19.
Okay.
And growing up in the 80s,
right.
We went like record shopping together. She'd buy her, and I'd buy my 45s, like Michael Jackson and this and that and so on and so forth. And she'd get like the Supremes and Donna Summer and Rick James and like, Ink Spots, and like she was a big Motown fan. So there was that funk element that I kind of grew up on. Right. And she would, it was like where disco stole that from. Right. Even though there was some cool, like Donna Summer and whatnot, but that was what she was into. Right. So. But that said, growing up, when I got introduced and interested in music and going, wow, I really like this, she was young enough to still be into it, and we had that bond.
That's cool. That's fucking awesome. Did you start with producing breaks?
No, actually. Yeah, oh God, I didn't even talk about that.
Okay.
Well, it was something that it was rushed, and I got to work with somebody that, like, absolutely amazing, Tony Bon Jovi. And he's phenomenal. He's the one that had his younger cousin, John Bon Jovi. He brought him into the studio and hooked him up with, the band members and whatnot. And, of course, Bon Jovi took off.
Right.
Tony was the one that was the engineer and the one that was the designer of this. Yeah, I could go on. That's a whole. No, I got you.
But you were point being, you were producing something else first.
Well, he came down from New York and was like, "Hey, you want to do this thing? Electronic music seems like it's a big deal right now. How about we do this thing?" And I was like, "Oh my God, okay." And but I had no idea what I was doing for the most part, and it was kind of a rush thing. And
what was the first song that you put out?
For me, as myself, artist-wise,
I guess. Were you in Always Infinity? There's a lot of there's so much I don't know about you. I guess it's just I'm just digging deeper into this hole. Like, okay, so were you Always Infinity, or were you somebody else before that?
It was either that or just my name.
Okay.
Yeah. So things that were just my name on it.
Okay.
Just stuff that I was like, just give me production credits.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the breaks thing was Infinity.
Absolutely.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so what was your first breaks track?
Released was, I think, Looking for Something.
Really? Damn, your first one?
Yeah, that shit's old.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's like the fucking classic Infinity track.
Yeah, and I actually did that for my mom.
Wow.
And was not ever, I was talked into releasing it because I thought it was very disrespectful to release it with a sample of an artist that I, as well as my mom, loved, Annie Lennox,
right.
Eurythmics. And I did it because, again, in the 80s, I grew up with my mom listening to music in 80s synth pop, Eurythmics, etc.
Fuck yeah.
And when I left and I was spending all my time literally sleeping in the studio, I wanted to do something to show my mom, hey, this is what I'm doing.
And that's somebody that she liked.
And exactly. So I was talked into it. Because at the time I'm like, oh, music should be free, and fuck the man, and it shouldn't be about money, and blah blah blah, and whatnot. And what was his name? DJ Excel, because it was Exact and Excel. Yeah, Excel. He had come into the studio. He was like, listen, dude, put this on vinyl and release it. And I was like, no, it's about the art. And he said, and it stuck with me, he's like, well, how are you going to create your art if you can't afford to buy the equipment to create your art? And it kind of stuck, and I was like, well, when you put it that way. So
he knew that shit was a banger.
Well, he put up the money up front to press the first, I think, 2,000 copies of it. And I think by that following weekend, we were getting calls, or I was getting calls from, down south, Orlando, Florida. Pretty much is where it kind of started with. They were like, hey, we need another 2,000 copies.
Damn.
And
hell yeah.
It was weird because I didn't really. It wasn't clicking with me how
it was
what
blowing
the
up.
hell was happening.
Yes.
And people were getting mad. Like record stores against record stores against record stores. They're like, why did they get them first?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know what.
How old were you when that song came out?
Well, when I did it versus how old I was when it came out, you'd have to look at the label.
I have the record. I don't know what year it was though. So okay, but damn. So your first track was a banger. Like it fucking. How many presses did you do?
It got to the point, and this is where Andy Hughes comes into play. It got to the point where I was like, listen, it's selling a lot. A, I don't want to get in trouble.
Oh shit! Yeah.
And B, again, the whole out of respect for the artist. I want to, whatever we need to do to pay for the rights
sample,
for the sample, to clear the samples, let's do that. And Andy Hughes, we were talking a lot at the time, said, well, listen, let me get involved and see how far I can get to who it is we need to talk to clear this. And it took quite a while and a lot of, barriers to break through. And all that stuff, and finally he did get through, and hopefully my memory is correct on all this, but he contacted me back and said, listen, we talked to him, the person that, and they said, well, how many units are you pressing? And I don't remember what the amount was, but the person said, well, unless you're pressing X amount of units,
shit.
We don't care.
Okay.
They said it's a dead artist. This is not a current artist.
Oh shit. Okay.
We don't care. Have fun. Bye.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. So we did more, and then finally I was like, I kind of want to cut it off. So that's when I saw the bootlegs of it, and I would go on to Juno Records, which is overseas. And I'd see it on there as white labels.
Right.
And I'm like, it was bootlegged all over the freaking place. And I'm like, you know what? You guys have fun with it.
Dude, you know what? I never even thought about that's what a bootleg was. I thought bootleg was somebody just didn't. They made a song and they just didn't want to go through whoever does the pressing. They did it on their own in a small batch and didn't make a real label for it and shit like that. But these people were ripping the song off and repressing it and then selling it.
Yeah, they were. It's funny.
Damn. Okay.
They were ripping it from the vinyl, and
it's like ripping a CD.
It on another vinyl.
I got my
it's
own.
Like going from cassette to another cassette.
Right.
And the sound degradation.
Oh, okay.
But
I got my own Infinity story about ripping CDs. I gotta tell you that. I won't
great.
do the conversation. So damn, that's cool, man. So you don't know how many units you pressed.
Oh, jeez, I have no idea.
Okay. So is that your biggest selling one?
That happened around the same time as Jane Jane.
Okay. Yeah.
And a lot of people, and I'm actually kind of happy about it at the time, did not know that had anything to do with me or it was me, because my name, the moniker, Infiniti, was not on it.
On Jane Jane or on Jane Jane? Not Children of the 80s, yeah, obviously.
No, not Children of the 80s.
Yeah.
Jane Jane, in fine print. So,
right.
My name and J. Ellis, who, whenever I say his name, puts a pit in my stomach and makes me want to throw up. It's easy. So, and I'm not trying to talk bad about people.
No, I got you. It's all good.
Bad people are bad people, and he's bad people.
It's all good. So that one, but it was released as a real record, you got a, it wasn't a white label or anything like that.
Which one?
Jane Jane.
Oh, Jesus, that's a whole story in itself.
Okay, all right. We don't have to get into all that.
No.
I mean, we can if you want to, but we don't.
Let me just say, there is no Larissa. It was fictitious. There is absolutely no Larissa. There's not an artist named Larissa.
Shut up.
Yeah.
I feel like my life has been a lie. Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah, there's actually, I think, about 8 or 9 versions of the song.
Yeah, I've
not,
heard
not of mine.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. No, I've heard a shitload of different versions of it.
Yeah, the version that I did, and I'll try to keep this as linear as possible.
It's all good.
Was the breakbeat version
right.
with the 303 and all that, and I did it. I don't want to say against my will, but a friend that worked at the studio, he was into like the pop commercial style house stuff. And apparently, I guess Jay wasn't even paying attention to him or kind of giving him a chance, and he wanted it like to be his big thing to.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, well, he won't do it unless you do it as well. You do a mix as well. And I was like, all right, well, here's the DAT tape. Go through it that he brought down of all kinds of acapellas from his artists in New York, which basically he,
Gotcha.
that, and he picked out the Jane Jane one. And he's like, well, what do you think of this? And I'm like, well, I like where the direction of it is, because it's not the vanilla kind of typical style of. It's controversial.
That's some provocative shit.
Yeah.
And
for the time, I mean,
for sure.
You had the gay scene and and whatnot, and then you had this, scene. But they didn't really kind of come together. And this, for me, was something that was like, well, it's not just, gay or straight, it's bisexual. And
right.
I mean, taboo kind of stuff, but in a way that was presented in like not in a super naughty, kind of dirty type of way.
Something you could jam to, dude.
And I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is cool. I guess I skipped over it when I was listening to the DAT tape. I wasn't really paying attention, and he had picked it out. And I was like, all right, I can kind of do something with this. And I did the breakbeat version.
Dude, the song is fire.
Because if I'm going to do me, then that's me.
Yeah.
And the dude Jay Ellis came in and was like, where are the vocals? Because there's like, it's a full kind of, song. And I was like, well, that's...
Oh, shit, okay.
Our scene, this genre, it's like, we're not like all about a driving vocal and like all of that. Over
the whole fucking song, yeah.
It's like, well, I'm not going to, we're not going to release it unless you put more vocals on it. And I'm like, mother... I didn't really care because I'm like, I'll rip the couple of vocals off and just
make your own
do
shit.
something else.
Yeah.
I mean, I made the damn song. The all the production and all that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, if I do that, again, my friend that worked at the studio, there goes his, end with it. So I'm like, all right, fine. So that's when the other version came along, the more freestyle version, which ended up on Billboard charts, up with I think it was number 2 with Cher, and then number 3 was Madonna, Ray of Light. And number 2, it was Billboard Top 100 Dance Chart.
Oh, dance! I didn't know that. I didn't know it went that high. Like, you're telling me some stuff that I did not know that.
Yep.
Wow.
And again, when the owner of the studio came in with the printout piece of paper, I was in the hallway and he walked in. He's like, "Hey, take a look at this." And I'm looking at it. I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at. It's kind of just scanning through. Like, okay, Billboard, whatever. Again, at the same time, I'm just like,
right, fuck Billboard.
Yeah. Fuck the man. And I look and I'm like, is this, the number 2 on Billboard charts? And immediately it was like, holy shit, I'm a sellout. Indirectly.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're going to find me out and call me a fraud. And this
but I mean, the song
my whole
is...
breakbeat scene, underground thing, they're going to be like, wow, really? You sold out?
Did you get a fucking platinum or a gold record or anything like that for it?
You know what I got? Because I really was like, I don't give a shit about this project.
Right.
I was just like hoping my buddy would get it in, and just have something breakbeat wise for me to go play when I'm doing whatever. So yeah, no contract. I didn't sign anything.
Oh.
And the first thought was the sellout thing. The second thought that I had when I was looking at it was, my mom is such a fan of what's her name? What was the one? The first
Annie Lennox?
Not Annie
Cher?
Lennox. Cher.
Yeah.
Sonny and Cher. When she was growing up. Oh, dude, that was like her upbringing.
Right.
And then Madonna in the 80s, again, she was young or enough to...
Fuck yeah.
She was a Madonna fan.
Yeah.
And the other, so that thought was like, wow, I got to show this to my mom. She's totally going to like be like,
dude,
holy shit, this is cool.
Upcharted Madonna?
One spot, that particular week.
Yeah.
I mean, it just went, up there.
Yeah.
And the third thought was like, holy shit, I'm not going to get paid for this, am I? Because I didn't sign anything.
Shit.
And he was like, nah. So I didn't make a penny off of it.
But you didn't get nothing. No plaque, no nothing.
And no, I was okay with that. It was like whatever.
I mean,
I got my revenge on that particular label, anyways.
So when you were like making that music, what were you making that on? Like I've always been wondering, like, because I've never produced a track, but I played saxophone for like 14 years. Like I'm into music. Like I know music. What were you using to produce your music at that time?
Let's see. That one I think was.
And the reason I'm asking is because you have like a particular sound. So like, what is that? Like, what gives you that?
Let's see. We'll go with looking for something. So it was a 909, a Juno 106, ESI 32 sampler.
And these are analog pieces.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think I was using Steinberg's Cubase, I think, for that one. And another piece of software that what it was supposed to be used for, which I never used anything for the purpose of what it was supposed to be used for. Yeah. I was like, well,
violating that label on shit.
Yeah,
like, don't use the bleach for other shit.
Yeah, let me violate this software and do whatever. But it was supposed to detect hi-hats and beats and kicks and snares, and I forget what the hell it was called. It basically sliced it up and sent it to the samplers, so your keys on your keyboard would be like kick, hi-hat, snare, da. So it split up this beat, so you could completely rearrange it. So I was like, well, fuck that. I can say that, right?
Yeah, dude, yeah. Well,
so I was like, fuck that. I threw in vocals, the Linux, vocals, to where you got that chop like, did it?
Right.
So I played all that like chopped up. And I used the EMU ESI 32 external sampler for that, which used floppy disk.
Oh my god!
Which was a blast to try, dude.
I never put a single.
Y'all kids have it so easy.
Dude, I use floppy disk not for fucking music though. Never, dude. Never even thought of putting a kilobyte of fucking sound on a floppy disk. Like that never happened. But what's interesting about your sound is like I heard that track you were working on with Chris and Brett, Audiobots, and I heard your sound in there. Like so, whatever you have, like I was like, damn, like I can hear. I don't really know how to describe it. It's like, I hear it in like science fiction, children of the '80s. It's like some kind of like raw like. I don't know how to describe it, but I heard that in that track you were working on that with them. So that's why I was wondering like what that is. Like
that's not anything equipment wise like it's. And I've seen this with a lot of artists at the time from late 90s through the early 2000s. They thought, well, if I buy all this equipment, then I'm gonna just have these amazing songs.
Right.
And it's not the case. It's actually more. The simpler the song, the more complicated it is to actually have something come across with it, because you really have to put something into it that's not just throwing every sound in the world at it.
Some kind of inspiration or like some kind of emotion, like feeling and things like that.
So, for me, I at the time didn't have the money or the ability or even the know-how as far as performing to have all that. So kind of had to make use. So it was a different direction I had to find myself going into.
Right.
Which was more, what's the point of doing this? It was more just me expressing myself.
Right.
And again, not for the purpose of putting anything out.
Right.
At the time, dealing with depression and anxiety and panic attacks, and there's a story behind that, and I won't go into that right now because it's, maybe another time.
Right. On our next one.
Yeah. So it wasn't a matter of, I guess that's where it kind of comes from.
Do you think that that's that sound is part of that expression.
Well, I think it was something that kind of triggers something for me that I don't know if it's something that kind of reminds me of a point in time or.
I just feel like
I have no fucking idea.
When I hear here's the thing, and the reason I say that is because like when I hear one of your tracks, like I know that's your shit. You know, like, and I feel like a lot of people would agree with that. Like, there's something about that atmosphere that you put in your music that's what it is. It's the atmosphere.
I really enjoyed progressive, 4/4 from overseas. And that's really where my love for. I mean, yeah, sure breaks, but that it was, and I always had a very self-conscious kind of what would be the word or the. Feeling like you're kind of not good enough, you know?
Right.
Because I worked at a studio and I was around actual musicians,
right.
And I'm like, I can't even, I can't compare to all that. Like,
right.
I'm a nobody. And I looked at electronic music from overseas the same way, like Sasha and Digweed and Perfecta Records, and the list goes on, Platypus and all that. So, but I really loved how I felt listening to it and how. It was either emotionally stimulating,
right,
in various directions, somber, happy, all
right.
those emotions, or mentally stimulating, to where you could listen to something, and creative, just these bursts of creativity would come from your thought process and all that,
right,
and. It inevitably bled over when I came and started working on stuff breakbeat wise, and became progressive breaks.
There's definitely that's what it is. That's what there's an atmosphere to your music that is spread across all of it. That tells me that it's one of your tracks. Like right. I can hear that. So, so you put out 2 CDs from as far as I know. Is that right?
As far as you know.
As far as I know. Okay. All right. So I kind of wanted to talk about those. One thing I wanted to ask you was, has anybody ever told you that your logo looks like the alien from Independence Day?
No, but I was told that if you flip it upside down, it looks like the dog from Blue's Clues.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Really?
And
I might have to look at that shit right now. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, I can't see that. I'd have to do it. But the alien from Independence Day, when they send the nuke in to blow the ship up, the alien that's at the thing, dude, looks just like your logo. It's the head part. Yeah. The head part it's pretty much the exact same shape. So, well, let's start with that. Where did that logo come from?
That was actually early in the 90s, like way early Photoshop. And music, creative expression, etc. And as well, though, visual. Working and doing the visual art. And this is one thing that I would definitely want to express to those that are listening. It's not a matter of vinyl being this throwback to whatever, or, it sounds better than digital, or it's going to be another fad again and that'll go away. And the thing is you have not just you can hold it in your hands, this vinyl record, and you see the grooves and all that, but you also have this 12 by 12 canvas that you can express yourself visually, and create your art on.
Right.
To coincide with whatever it was you were feeling when you produced the
song.
That's
a good point.
And the other side as well, or if you have a double. There's so many just creative outlet. It's amazing. I
haven't thought about that. You're absolutely right. Like when I download a track now, I don't even care what the thing looks like. Like I disable it.
You get a thumbnail and
I disable it in Tractor or whatever I'm using because it just takes up a spot that I'm not really. But you're right, dude. You're right. It is like a piece of art. Yeah, for sure.
So that logo was, me sitting and expressing myself. Just me.
So you had it before you were Infiniti.
Around about the same time,
okay.
I guess.
Okay.
Because was it on Looking for Something? Was the logo on that? No, I don't know.
It was gray. Looking for Something was gray. I don't know if the logo was on it. It might have been.
I don't even remember.
I just remember it was gray.
So.
Okay. So you got the 2 CDs that I know of. I don't know about any other ones, but
actually, I think it was. I don't know. Anyways.
Okay. It could have been. It could have been up in the top, in the small in the center, and then underneath it.
Somebody will chime in here.
Yeah. Somebody tell us in the chat. Is it on the? Is it on the record? So the 2 CDs that I know of, yeah, Looking for Something and then Product of Your Environment.
Yeah.
So which one came out first? I don't remember.
Product of the Environment.
Product of the Environment. Okay. Is Product of the Environment the one that had the blow up with R Fresh and Good Life?
Yes.
It was like track 10 or 11?
Yeah, towards the end, yeah. Well, no, it was Jay and Jane, and when the 303 build-up happened, the intro to Good Life's Way Out West mix of Good Life worked in with that.
So Get Fresh wasn't in there?
I believe not in that portion.
Okay, so maybe it was afterward. It might have been at the end. Okay, so it was Jay and Jane and then Way Out West. Okay, that
is Looking for Something. The CD itself was all my stuff.
Right.
So
okay, so yeah, then it would have had to have been that dude. When I heard that for the first time, like I had never heard a blow up like that. Like that shit fucking went crazy. Like, so did you just happen to put those two together one time when you were mixing, and then
yeah.
Dude, that's like gold right there. Like that is crazy.
At the time, I loved it. I was like, "This works great." And now looking back, I'm like, "Man, I should have just left it alone."
Really?
Yeah,
dude, that's like one of the most epic blow-ups ever, man. Seriously, dude, that's like when somebody hears that, like that's never heard anything like that before, dude. It's like a fucking explosion. It's like a supernova goes off in their head. Like that shit's crazy. So, okay, so when you put out that CD, like, what's the story behind Product of the Environment?
As far as
like, were you like okay? I guess when do you get to the point where you put out a mix CD? Is that what? So, well, let me start with this. Those ones were for real, official, licensed. Were they licensed?
Sure.
Okay, that's fine. Because they because they were legit. Like they were, when you bought the CD,
again, it was then. And
right. No, I gotcha.
I wasn't. I don't even think it was in stores. It was just kind of like a local homegrown. Everybody and their brother bootlegged it.
Yeah, I bootlegged it.
So like I don't even remember if I actually.
And just so everybody knows, I don't know if it was that one or the other one I showed you the other night. One of his CDs is on Amazon for $147 right now. So if you want it, it's out there. But
if not, I'll give it to you for free.
Yeah, I might have one sitting in my at my dad's house right now because I
don't have the CDs, but I have the. I mean, if anybody wants the mixes of Product of the Environment, just
dude, those CDs. I mean, those. Dude, I've probably listened to those things 1,000 times each, dude. Like those were I used to have a '91 Celica. I worked at Tape Deck with Joe Wink, and my system was tuned to listen to breaks. Like that's what I had it in there for. And I probably listened to those CDs 1,000 times easy. But so when you get to the point where you're like, all right, I'm going to put out a CD, like did that just happen, or like was there like something that led up to that, and like, all right, I'm going to put out an album, or like had you made enough tracks and you're like, all right, I'm going to put out a CD? Like how did that?
At the time, a CD was different than putting a mixtape, an actual cassette tape out. Yeah, it was kind of more of a modern kind of pushing a bit of the boundaries at the time. Now it sounds silly,
right?
Like
no,
CD playing, whatever. But at the time, it was kind of a moving forward. It was a platform or a viable media for its time.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But that was pushing, and we were like, well, where's this digital thing going? Because up until that, it was just all analog, cassette tapes and whatnot.
So just evolution of the technology, you're saying?
I wanted to see, and again, like artwork style. For Product of the Environment, it was a textured like a silver coating on it.
Right.
It wasn't just like a
matte finish or whatever.
Blah, blah, blah. And I found that to be an interesting way to put it together. And the artwork itself was very minimalistic, but in a kind of a color scheme that wasn't kind of a typical, I guess. I don't know. I mean, again, I was a kid. So.
Right. But dude, I mean, the logo's held up. It looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it still.
Yeah.
It's changed. Initially, it was like a blue gradient to a blue into a darker. The platinum style is the one that I.
Yeah. No, it's timeless, man, for sure.
So,
yeah. So you put out Product of the Environment, and then. I mean, how many of those did you put out? Do you know?
No idea. It wasn't like a big deal, really.
Okay. I feel like they had them at Tape Deck.
Did really?
I think so, dude. I think so. I mean, that might have been where I got it from.
I think that was around the time where I just kind of was like, hey, I did a thing, handed it off, and it was like, all right, because like I want to focus on this. And
So you had somebody else do all the packaging and everything like that, and you just...
Well, yeah. I mean,
I know you didn't do it yourself, but you're like, here's the shit, send it out.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Okay. And then I don't even remember what year that was. Like I worked at Tape Deck when I was in like out of high school, so it was like 2003 or 2004 or something like that. So then looking for something.
That was different. That was put out through Future Music Distribution.
Okay.
And I used Future Music Distribution, and that's how I met Dave London. He worked there. He was part of that. They were in Orlando, I believe. And Future Music Distribution, at the time when you were pressing your own vinyl, I'd send off to the pressing plant, and then you send off the artwork to the, the printing place, and then you'd have the printed sent to the pressing, and they put it together, and then it would get sent to Future Music, and then they would drop ship units to the stores.
Okay.
That would, say we wanted 2,000 copies. So like all I had to do was create the music, send it off. It did its thing. Collect the money to put towards the next set of pressings or to the next project.
Right. Okay.
So that's when it started becoming a bit more mechanical.
Right. More like a business kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, look, the CD. So this was the CD. Hold on. It was Product Environment. Was it Looking for Something? Was that the other CD? What did I say?
Yeah. Looking for Something.
So that was just, you're like, all right, I'm just going to put out another CD.
Well, I wanted to put everything together that I've been working on is in one continuous mix. Okay. Because at the time it was just individual record. And at that point, people that were interested in electronic music, specifically breaks, they didn't have turntables, and they didn't, and all that. So it was like, well, put it together on a continuous mix CD that they can have access to listen to.
Gotcha.
So they don't have to wait and go to a club and hope they hear.
Or go to the record store, buy your individual stuff and things like that. Yeah.
And again, not everybody had turntables.
Right.
Most people did. At all. No way to listen.
You know what I like about your CDs, I think it's Product Environment. When you put that bitch on number one, you hear that fucking crackle of the record.
Yeah.
If you have a good enough stereo to hear, it's just real in the beginning. You're just like, holy shit!
Like, it's funny at the time. I'm like, God, this sounds like shit.
Yeah, right. I know. I can see that.
Oh man, that crackle.
Some classic shit right there. Yeah, man, for sure. So, all right. So what? I'm just crossing off things that we talked about. What is your favorite song that you've put out? Oh, Brian, can you get us some beers, please? we got a beer boy. Please.
Scene in Step. What was it? Wedding Crashers. Where it's like, Mom, the meatloaf.
Please, sir. Thank you.
I never know what she's doing back there.
Oh, Joe winks in. So what's up, everybody in the chat? I know we haven't really been talking to you guys. We're just kind of shooting the shit here about a bunch of stuff that I did not know, which is super interesting, though.
Yeah, my laptop died. I forgot to bring my charger.
Oh yeah, he might. Brian, you got a Mac charger over there?
Yep. Someone needs to turn their notifications down on their phone.
Oh, it's not me. No, it's all good.
Oops.
So, thank you, dude.
You're welcome.
So,
thank you for telling me now instead of earlier.
Yeah, no, dude. It's.
Well, I don't know if I'll interrupt it unless I actually have.
I actually like the rawness of the. It's not perfect kind of thing. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of like this is real life shit. Like it's not perfect, like orchestrated kind of thing like that. So we need beers. Your phone's dinging. Battery's dead. It's real life shit. So it's all good. I like that. So, out of all your tracks, what's your favorite track?
Oh Jesus. Well. Each single, each one of them, even if they're remixes, is a point in time where, it's just a series of moments, I guess.
Right, yeah, for sure.
You get to say, well, what's your best moment in life? Well, for Christ's sake.
I gotcha.
At your age, you're just going to pick one?
Right.
Really? No.
Right.
No,
for sure.
I can say Running Away, I really like.
Yes.
Me too. There's things that I like that others might be like, really? But what I had put into it, let's say...
Thank you, dude.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, that's a hard one.
Okay, that's all good. Hit that outlet right there.
Yeah.
Or there might be one under your
there's
power strip.
Power strip.
Yeah, our power strip right there.
Well, I don't want to get too close to it. Oh, there's duct tape on this. I won't shock myself and die.
Well, we hope not. You know those Apple chargers are expensive.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, so then tell me about Furry Mulatto. What's wrong?
I was looking for my beer. Did you bring another beer? Oh, here it is. Right next to the charger.
Right.
That has the duct tape on it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, well.
So tell you about what now?
Furry Mulatto. I didn't know you were still putting out songs, and I saw that shit. And I was like, holy shit. I played it, dude. I played the fuck out of it. When I'm out playing top 40 stuff or like, not break stuff.
It kind of bridges the...
Yeah, dude. Fuck yeah, it does.
It is Nelly Furtado.
Mm-hmm.
Did not know it when I got the vocal. I didn't know who the hell it was.
Okay.
But it had like that cheerleader kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
But like the naughty cheerleader.
Right.
Which, who doesn't like a naughty cheerleader?
Right.
Just saying. And I wanted it to have like that, hey, Mickey, you're so fun. You know
Dude,
what I mean?
I hear it. I hear it.
And so I did it. And again, I didn't know who the artist was. And I thought it was just kind of like a one-off, like a nobody kind of artist that I could get a hold of and be like, hey, here's the thing that I did, with this vocal. Let's, sample rights or whatever the hell it would be. And then I found out it was Nelly Furtado.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, that's not good.
No,
Not
that's
at all.
definitely not. Dude,
So-
I have club tested that song at Redemption when I had or not me, but me and Joe Valdivieso had Baby N there, and I had to cover because Brett Matheson's girlfriend Christina blew the fucking circuit out in the club when she was playing, so we had to reset everything. So I had a couple of songs on a CD, and that shit was one of them, and it fucking lit that room up, dude.
It's funny that you mentioned Baby N. I believe it was Baby N. I had to do a version that was censored without the cuss words in it.
Okay.
Curse words in it, so that she could play it in, family friendly.
Oh, shit.
On the
Okay.
radio, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, there's a version that I don't think I beeped it out or bleeped it. I don't remember.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure mine has cuss words in it.
That's
Yeah.
the one to play.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, right.
That drives it home.
For sure. Okay, so one thing I would like to talk to you about, just because I like to talk about this with everybody, is I'd like to talk about the evolution of breaks, like the style. So I'll just tell you kind of like my perspective on it and like what I mean by that. So, like I said, my first CD was Merlin Spellbound, and then I didn't get into DJing until I was 21, so it was like it would have been like 2003, 2004, right? And that's when breaks kind of like went through that whole new school phase of like they fell out of favor with like the festivals and stuff like that, and it wasn't really like a big thing. It kind of shrank, and then it kind of like the sound changed to a more like what I call an abrasive sound for a little while. And then it came back around.
And this is just my opinion.
That's what I'm asking.
My outlook
That's what
on
I'm
it
asking.
is, I think at that point we had said, okay, we have established ourselves as breakbeat is not just some trashy kind of blah 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 thing
Right.
that nobody wants to talk about,
Right.
like the black sheep of the family type thing.
Right.
Yeah, we have an audience and we're viable. Okay. So we started looking, I guess, and this is me, so I'll say, I started looking at what was going over in the UK, because no matter what you do for us, and I don't care if you say you did or you didn't, we always looked at the UK going, what are they doing?
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Yeah.
When it came to getting to that level of it.
Right.
And what was going on was that more grimy kind of
Grimy.
new
hard,
school thing.
Yeah.
And I think we kind of tried to introduce it over here to kind of bring it across the pond.
Yeah.
Because our stuff went across the pond. So they kind of like, we were, sharing and ideas and breaks and broken beat and whatnot. And I don't think we kind of got it right.
Okay, good. I'm glad, because, dude, I feel the same way. It made me lose my lust for the music.
Yeah, I mean, I did a couple things that were on the border of it, just because I really liked the ability to say, oh, deep breath, I can do something a little more aggressive now. I don't have to be, what's expected.
Right.
Because now it's like, people are kind of expecting, not necessarily from me, but I could like throw a little bit in there of a little bit of aggression.
Right.
People would be like, what the fuck are you doing? Fuck this guy.
Right. Yeah, it was a little more. And it definitely was the entire. Well, no, I guess maybe not the entire, but a lot of the break style went in that direction, like at the same time. Like I remember, like Delirium and Phase. I can't always remember his name. Those guys were doing stuff like that. Your stuff, I'm not sure if I heard any of it that went like that, but a lot, even Fix, like some of his stuff, went that way, and I was like, this is not like the stuff that I'm into. It's too in that abrasive realm, the grime realm, and like I remember like it just disillusioned me from the music, and it took me a while to come back around and be like, all right, now the shit's fire, and it took a while for that to happen. It seems like.
For me, if you listen to some of the stuff that really deviated, like Make the World a Better Place, stuff like that, very aggressive, you could hear elements and go, okay, well, there's his kind of...
Right.
But very much so in a different direction, more so kind of heady, if you will.
Right.
But aggressive, not overly.
Right.
But you have to keep in mind, too, for me personally, remove me from the entire scene. And, again, 9 Inch Nails back then, Skinny Puppy, like industrial stuff.
Right.
Edgy stuff,
right.
Heavy metal and all that.
Right.
I mean, even if you look at Two Live Crew, there was, S&M, that song.
Right.
Was very, had an edge to it. So, I wasn't trying to jump onto that bandwagon.
Right.
I felt like, okay, I can breathe a little bit and pull a little bit from where I come from and introduce it without everybody going like, what the fuck's this guy doing?
Right, gotcha. Well, I'm glad that we're out of it. I feel like what happened with it is like it smoothed out a little bit. Like, and this is just my opinion, just from being a DJ. Like I said, I never made a track. Like, we got out, we kind of evolved from that space and brought more of like, I call it light and funky, dude. That's like my personal taste in breaks, is like light and funky. And I feel like the abrasiveness, some of it's still there, but they kind of like rounded the edges off of it a little bit. Like it fits more into the pleasing ear sound that I prefer with the breaks.
And everybody's different though.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude, for sure.
And that's where you get your subgenres and things go into various various areas. I mean, like when dubstep became it was like dubstep was trying so hard to get away from that mainstream 4/4, which ended up being like the tech house, that stuff. And it was just really just grimy and overly compressed and just like just like crazy. Not like they're like, there's no way this could be pop. Right. There's no way this is gonna.
And then it's on a fucking commercial, dude. I forget who that guy was.
I was watching, and I please forgive me for doing so. I think it was MTV Music Awards. I don't know why I was watching. Britney Spears was doing a performance. And right in the fucking middle of it, it broke down to like this dubstep thing, and I was like, that's it, done, over, dubstep, screw.
Yeah. I was in Miami at Future Sound of Breaks the first time I heard dubstep, and they had it in, I don't know if you ever went to the one they had, I don't know if they had more than one, in the fucking warehouses in like the industrial section, where it was literally a fucking warehouse with a stage in the center one side blasting out dubstep, the other side, or no, one side blasting out drum and bass, the other side blasting out breaks. Not a great setup because it's in a fucking warehouse, so the sound was terrible. But outside, they had dubstep, and they had all the guys from Europe over because it was before it had made it over here. Like they had Scream and all those guys that were doing it over there, and like they had the big Sierra One Vega speakers, and people were like laying inside of them and shit. And I was like, "What the fuck is this?" I never heard it before, and I was like, "Damn!" Started playing it up here, brought it back. It was, and that's when it blew up a little bit after that.
There was so many people, breaks community-wise.
Yeah.
I'll leave names out, but when that happened with dubstep, just pissed. It's like, they were like, we're the golden gods,
Right?
Yeah, because we're the different ones. We're the black sheep.
Yeah.
And when it came out, I really, really loved the direction.
Some of
it's not something that was in my playlist that I listened to. It wasn't my cup of tea, the majority of it. But I loved the fact somebody was like, you know what, fuck this.
Right.
We're going to go over this way.
Right.
That I like.
Yeah.
More music and more like Nirvana.
Right.
Fucking when Nine Inch Nails came out with Closer.
Right.
And it came out on TV, the video. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Tool. Like all of that was just like, there was pop, and then fucking Nirvana happened.
Right. And they're making that shit from
I'm
their
not
soul
comparing
and stuff.
Nirvana to dubstep.
No, dude, I got
That's
you. I got
blasphemy.
you. But it's the anti-pop. And like
anything that's in a new direction, or I mean, granted, dubstep had kind of been around, just not in the way that it formed, but with the anyways, without doing the history lesson of it.
a lot of the first stuff I heard was like super experimental sounding shit. Like it wasn't that raw. It was like atmospheric, like weird. Like I felt like I was in a swamp with like fucking fog everywhere, and then like all of a sudden like the swamp monster came out and fucking started playing some shit. Like it was weird sounding stuff. And then when I heard them down there and looked into their stuff more, I found like the heavier shit, which is what I feel like that's what we got over here when it took off, was the womp 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 shit. It didn't last that long though. It was like maybe a couple years at the most, and then like it just, I don't know, it kind of like fizzled out. And then I guess maybe House took over after that.
Sort of, the thing was, what was interesting, kind of a reverse process, was when dubstep ended up on that kind of commercial level, for dubstep didn't change 2 feet into that. Commercial said, "Oh, this is the new thing." That
Cherry picked that bitch out.
Picked them up like a fucking grappling hook.
I know, dude.
Dude,
that shit pisses me off so bad, man. Like it ruins music. Like that's happened to country music. Well, all
yes and no. It does. I mean, and this is the older me speaking now. It does ruin it, but it gives an opportunity for that one artist or those to come into that and shine a light on something absolutely brand new and unique and creative, and again, the Nirvana, the Nine Inch Nails,
for that moment in time,
Perfect Circle, like for that particular moment in time.
Yeah.
Had it not been for radio and MTV at the time when Nirvana came out, who would have been able to hear it?
Right. Yeah.
Like right now, you take iTunes and there's like, oh, this is phenomenal. We got access to a gazillion fucking artists and songs and all this. This is amazing. That's wonderful. That's a plus. How the fuck are you gonna weed through all that shit? No, dude,
you're not.
Dude, I get tired after 2 hours of going, oh my fucking God.
Not.
Out of listening to 100 things, that 101, I'm like, oh, this is great. Right. And then I'm like, oh, I'm fucking tired. At least I found this one thing.
Yep.
Whereas back then, radio spoon-fed you, and MTV even spoon-fed. But there was that one artist that came along and you're like, oh my God, this is wonderful. But you had to weed through all that fucking spoon-fed bullshit.
Right.
One thing I think is really cool, how Pandora uses that algorithm where you pick a song, you make a station, right? And then it goes out and it finds,
it's the Music Genome Project. It's the Music Genome Project.
That's
cool
the
shit.
best of both worlds.
Right.
Because yes, you're taking something and they're kind of feeding you this and this, but it's also taking like this whole mass and being able to pull from that and say, okay, well, you're interested in this, and it goes here and there, and then it's like they throw a curveball, like, what do you think about this?
Right.
And you're like, holy fucking shit, where did this come from? And then you kind of make that a station, and it goes. And
Yeah,
goes.
I listen to Pandora more than anything. Like, I don't use Spotify or anything like that, but the Music Genome Project is fucking awesome, man. Like, it just encoded all the music, like the genetic code, and then each piece of the music has its own little tag. And so, you like this kind of music, it has so many tags, and then it finds other music with those same tags. So... But yeah, the I forget what. Oh, it was Alex. Was it not Alex Gray? It was Alex something. The dubstep guy that was on the commercial, and then it was like, boom! This is dubstep is here. I forget what fucking song that was though. But so then dubstep happened, and then it kind of faded out. And then like on the radio, like house got real big, and like fucking everybody was making house tracks and shit, And then that's when EDM fucking like blew up like a bomb. Fucking was everywhere after that. Like, and
well, keep in mind we're talking about music that's already been around.
Oh yeah, in the mainstream. Sorry, that's what I mean.
Not even in the mainstream. It's just already there.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
House was there. Chicago House.
No, I mean that it got the limelight shined on it by the corporations and shit. That's what I'm talking about. Like it was obviously the music's been there forever. Yeah, no, I'm talking about like it was on the radio. Like now everybody's into this shit, and before it was like Eminem. Nobody listens to techno. That kind of shit. It was hip hop, and then it turned right. Seriously, dude. Seriously. Big blunder on that shit.
No, he was saying it in jest.
But at that time, I didn't think... Dude, when I was listening to techno, dude, like, nobody except the other DJs that I was hanging out with listened to that shit. Nobody. It was not even like, you're putting on that techno shit? That's what I used to call it. Like, yeah, I'm listening to this techno shit. Like, it wasn't even accepted anywhere. Unless we went to a party or something like that where it was that kind of stuff. But this is in mid-2000s. Like not in the 90s or anything like that. So now I feel like the music now is fucking off the chain, dude. The breaks now, I fucking love them. Okay. Like I thought, I was disillusioned for a while, and then like for the past couple of years, I go on Beatport, dude. Almost every song I hear is like great. Like I can't even fucking pick all the songs I want to buy because I'll never get around to playing them.
Right.
So I feel like the music has come full circle, however that happened, and now it's good.
I find it interesting, and I ran across it. I didn't know who it was, but afterwards looking at it, it was Skrillex, and I forget the other guy. Didn't know until after I heard it. The song's called Squad Out. Fat Man and Scoop is on there as the hype guy and whatnot. And I remember hearing it. I was like, holy shit, it sounds like something that Scott Weiser and myself or somebody else would put together, minus the fact that it sucks to mix out of you can't mix out of it.
Right.
A lot of these guys don't understand the concept of actually mixing shit.
Right.
From one to the next.
Right. They don't know. They don't have it, dude.
But I found out that it was Skrillex, and I'm like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
Really? This went beyond like kind of putting something together to an actual full-on. Like, this fucking rock, I would play this shit.
Right.
If I could mix out of it.
Right. What's the Dirty Bird guy? Brian, what's the Dirty Bird guy? Claude Von Stroke. Dude, you ever heard any of the shit that he makes that sounds just like electro breaks?
Like bouncy bass lines.
Dude, it sounds like Exact made his shit. Sounds exactly like it. Like Brian was playing because he likes him. And I was like, this sounds exactly like the stuff that I would hear like Hydraulics or Exact make, dude. And he's not a breaks guy, but it sounds exactly like that. And I've heard that from some other people who are like taking that sound and like putting it in here, putting it in there, and like on Boiler Room I saw the only break set I ever saw in Boiler Room, DJ Stingray. You ever heard of him?
Probably.
I never heard of him. He's playing just straight up like minimal electro breaks kind of stuff, and I was like, holy shit. So, but the point in saying all that was like, just I feel like the music has just, it's great now. Like I love the music that's out right now. Like I said, I can't get enough of it. So okay, let's see what somebody was asking. What's up? So what's going on with producing now? Are you making anything right now?
There's quite a few projects that are starting, and doesn't mean they'll get finished. With other, collaborating, if you will.
Right.
More so just bouncing shit back up.
Right.
Each other.
Was there a particular reason or something like that you kind of like stopped producing as much? Okay, all right. I don't know. I was just a question. Okay. We can talk about that on the next podcast. I'm making notes here about these little things. I'm just joking, dude. I'm just joking. So you got stuff in the
Reasons.
works. Okay, no. Dude.
Yeah.
Everybody's
No. I mean, keeping it in the music realm, I saw that things were evolving and changing, and for me, this would have to go way back in the. Yeah, let's.
All
leave
good.
it for another.
All good. No, that's all good. So okay, as far as like shows and stuff, so are you? What's your thoughts about playing out right now? Actually, I want to ask you about Magic Mike, dude. You and
Yeah.
Magic Mike.
Mhm.
Like, I've seen you on the bill with him a couple times
Yeah.
together. So, but I haven't seen you guys play together.
Yeah.
So, are you guys like good friends?
He's phenomenal. I met him late 90s, I believe. 90, whatever it was. Listened to Magic Mike and the Real Posse cassette tape when I was a fucking little kid, man.
Yeah.
So not only being able to meet him was phenomenal,
Right.
and then working with him was like very phenomenal, and then now being able to, have playing these events together is wonderful. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
As far as playing together, as a versus, no way.
Okay.
He is such an amazing performer. I've never seen anyone like him as far as performing,
I never seen
on
him
the
play.
stage. Really?
Never seen him play, dude. I haven't been
Dear
to a
God.
party where he was playing. Like, or let me think. No, I haven't. I don't. Not because I wasn't trying. He just wasn't there.
I've never, I've been around a lot of, never seen anyone perform with just the passion and the sweat and just the
Right.
interaction, and oh god, it's such a. He doesn't need flashy lights,
Right.
and a
True.
3D freaking thing and a cube on a stage in a freaking festival.
Right. He
Dude,
just kills it.
Just fucking amazing.
He's like Craze. Just goes up there and fucking destroys it with
Yeah.
just himself and the yeah.
Craze is amazing. But Mike,
Yeah.
just putting that out there.
I gotta go see him then, man. I've never seen
Yeah.
him. But dude, I've listened to his stuff. I listened to his CD. I listened to his tracks. Like,
Seeing him and watching him
Yeah.
perform, he is a performer. Just, dear God.
that's cool.
So yeah, no, I ain't gonna fucking be
Well,
anywhere
no,
near
I
him
mean,
while he's playing.
it's not like
That's
it's not a competition. It's just
I'd
like,
be
here's
here's my song from Blue.
Yeah. So when you're playing on the dude, I mean, I booked you maybe like 3 or 4 times, and I guess you played on turntables then, right? Is that what you're still playing on when you're playing out right now? Is turntables?
For this next show to be digital. When
Okay.
I played in Orlando, I asked if we could, at least have a Paratechnique 1200s for me to play on,
Okay.
which were raffled off. There were custom tables.
Oh,
for
was
the
that
event.
is it AAHZ? I don't know. Is it Oz?
No,
Reunion?
that was the more recent one.
Oh,
that Kimball
okay.
Collins
Okay.
played at the Beecham.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I saw those.
Same
things
guy
back
that did
up.
him. Joel Gray is his name. DJ Tonic.
Okay,
Mind blowing.
I hit him up
Yeah.
to try to get my tables fixed, and he told me that 2 decent or good condition techs are $1,500.
He is absolutely phenomenal and goes above and beyond. It's not just repairing; it's literally making them brand new again.
Yeah, I told him I probably should do it just as an investment because he told me how much it would be to fix them because it's tripling or
I
quadrupling
mean, shit,
my
you
money.
can do that, and put him away.
That's it. Exactly.
Wait 5-10
exactly.
years.
Exactly.
And like triple, quadruple.
Yeah.
Like
So-
I mean, $15 is like.
Right.
Yeah.
After seeing him, what he's done, and then telling me the price, and I looked up some stuff, I'm like, I might as well just fucking do it because it's sitting in my closet right now. Or
Yeah.
I could bring him in here for the live stream. People can play on them if they need to. But I've seen some of the work that he did. Holy shit.
The laser etching,
Fucking
the Cerakote,
crazy
and
shit,
it's not
dude.
just that, the internal workings that he does and
Yeah.
the replacement.
And I saw he had
There's
the-
stuff that he does to turntables that I had no idea.
Dude, the
were part of
LED thing on the
turntables.
phone?
Well,
Did you
that
see
too
that
was a
shit?
recent. Yeah, that's a
Yeah, I'm
recent
like,
thing, too.
holy shit, never even thought about doing that, but yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's DJ Tonic. What's the name of his business?
Tonic Lab.
Tonic Lab.
Tonic
Yeah.
Lab.
If you need turntables fixed, Hit that guy
Put me
up,
on the
dude.
spot. Now I want to call him.
Hit
like,
hit
dude,
that
hey.
guy up, dude.
Yeah.
He
He lives in
yeah,
Melbourne as
yeah,
well.
I know. That's what when I had talked to him, I was like, all right. I was thinking on my head, I'm like, I could just drive him up there, drop him off, go pick him up whenever. I don't need him, whatever. But I didn't get around to it. So, but all right, man. I mean, we've been going for a little while. So we're over an hour. So people wanted to know. They wanted to know about about producing still. If you were going to make anything. Who was 2001 with Mike?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. All right, and I mean I didn't get to read through all the chat, but
Yeah, I'm trying to keep up.
so yeah, it's hard. No, there's people chatting and we're talking. It's hard to keep up with everything. So, but we've been going for a little bit over an hour. So, I mean, I pretty much went through everything that I wanted to talk to you about. So, I'm good to wrap it up, and hopefully we can do this again.
Yeah,
really
there could definitely be quite a few continuations.
Yeah,
Some
man.
of the shit that you asked about that I just couldn't.
No, dude, no big deal.
Within a time span.
Yeah, no big deal. I mean, I'm totally. We could go for 3 hours. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. But
Let's
still,
go.
yeah. I mean, take a piss
Another
break.
beer, please. Yeah.
Take a piss break. I mean, shit, dude. If you want to keep going, we can keep going for real. I just need to take a piss. And
Ask them.
but
I don't know. How many
y'all want us to keep going, or do you want us to cut it off and then we'll do another one sometime in the future? We'll leave it up to you guys. So actually,
Is he gonna throw down a set? No.
Yeah, no. So yeah, you know what? I forgot to say that in the beginning. So this is not Scott's not playing. This is just us talking.
Yeah.
So maybe sometime in the future we can do that. But for just tonight, this is a podcast just talking about the history, the songs, tracks, all that kind of stuff. So, but he's definitely not going to play some jams tonight because we're not even set up to do that anyway. So this was just more of a talking kind of thing. So it seems yeah, we're everybody wants you to play. That's what pretty much every person is saying on here is play some fucking music. But we'll have to work that out for next time. Make sure everything is set up right. So. But yeah, so we're gonna wrap it up. So you guys, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate the support on this. I think we had a good podcast. We had a good turnout. So dude, I mean, I thank you for real, and we're definitely gonna do it again. So thank you guys. If you haven't liked the page, please do so. And then I'll post this up on YouTube probably next week. And we thank you guys for tuning in. And have a good night. Be safe. And look for our next show. Probably we'll be announcing it maybe next week. So you guys take care.